Hello and welcome to Talking Automotive with Mark and John. My name is John Sinclair and my co-host Mark Palavestra.
Hi John, today we've got a very important topic to discuss, which is the dealer and OEM digital environment and the innovations that have happened particularly over the last 2 years, which are significant.
It's very interesting to see how automotive is catching up with a lot of the other digital aspects of our life. So a great listen.
If you like what you hear today, remember to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Spotify and iTunes.
With 30 years' experience in auto logistics and state-of-the-art locations in 5 major Australian cities, Precar Fleet Services is an independent division of Precar Services, offering specialty fleet fit-outs for commercial applications ranging from simple tray and tow bar fitments to fully bespoke service body and accessory installation. With quality-assured safety, compliance and standardisation of vehicle builds, Precar Fleet Services are a premier all-in-one solutions provider for commercial vehicle fleet operators, leasing companies, and original equipment manufacturers. For further information on how Precar Fleet Services can assist in solving your commercial vehicle fit-out needs, please visit precar.com.au and click on the link to Fleet Services.
Modera is a cloud-based, AI-powered CRM and retail platform aimed at digitizing the physical process of selling a car. The Modera platform sits between existing automotive dealer and OEM systems, providing car dealerships a quick and easy shift to digital ways of working, all done entirely digitally and with total ease.
Hi Janek and Siim, thanks very much for joining us today. Great to have you on the show. Maybe to start things off, can you tell us about the latest trends that are happening in the automotive digital space?
Sure. Thanks, John, for inviting us. So as I see it, the automotive industry is finally switching the gear to catch up with other industries in digital space. First COVID, now the energy and finance crisis, all that is pushing automotive to find the ways to be more efficient. What we see is that the interest in online sales solutions is increasing. It's about allowing customers to take a bigger role in the purchase flow. I mean, the steps that are usually being done by the sales staff on the back end could actually be performed by clients themselves on the website. For example, choosing suitable financing option or signing the contract online. In addition, we see bigger interest in applications that help to source the used cars, manage trade-ins, and so forth.
So, Janek, that's it's encouraging to see that pivot or the move to digital is gaining speed and the auto industry is embracing it. So I'm keen to get an idea of where is this drive coming from? Is it from the car companies or is it from the dealers or a combination of both?
I would actually add consumers there as well, because, I mean, the consumers are driving the change as well. I mean, they want to do things digitally because the other industries are doing that. And you're right. I mean, the OEMs are driving that as well because they want to be more efficient. So they want to be more profitable and everything moves online. And I mean, what comes to the dealers, I think, of course, there's initiative on their side as well. But, you know, a lot is dictated by the OEMs anyway. So, maybe they have less to say in that topic right now.
Why does the customer experience management in the automotive industry matter?
I think what we're seeing now is that this car sales frenzy, what we've seen during last year and a half, is coming to an end. Customers are now more careful. They're taking more time when considering what car to buy next. For car dealers, this of course means that they need to work harder to deliver the next sales. Dealers really have to be ready to offer the best possible help to clients, whether the shopping experience starts online or offline in the dealership. As you know, the sales process is multi-step, including the selection of a car, managing the trade-in, choosing insurance and suitable finance. The bottom line here is that the dealer has to make this process for clients very convenient and fast in order to secure the deal. Otherwise, the client might choose another dealership. But of course, it's important that dealer keeps in touch with client during the full life cycle, sending newsletters, various offers, and most importantly, he has to be on client's radar when the finance is about to end to offer a next car.
So Janek, are you able to tell us about what Modera is doing in this space?
Sure. We actually provide solutions to automotive industry, and our focus is mostly on the sales area. For example, we offer a wide range of online solutions, starting with the e-commerce platform for car sales or accessories. We do automotive websites, and we've been doing lately a lot of various self-service widgets targeted at end customers, like online service booking, online test drive booking, online trade-in application, and so forth. And from the other side, we offer digital sales management platform for the dealership. Basically, it's a cloud-based solution that covers, I have to say, the full sales process within the dealership. That would be managing incoming leads from different sources, planning test drives, generating offers from car configurator or from stock, including the finance and the insurance offer, managing the trade-ins, sales contracts, delivery of the car, invoicing, of course, and all the kind of loyalty functionalities, follow-up, so forth. In addition, we have some of the modules for car distributors, allowing them to share their stock online with the dealer network, allowing dealers to book the cars, buy the cars, and as well have, the distributor to have a good reporting what's happening in their dealer network. And besides the solutions what we provide, I think it's worthwhile to mention that actually about a year ago, in October 2021, Modera made an IPO. So we are now publicly listed company on Nasdaq Stock Exchange. And about the financial results, so actually this first half year, we saw the growth of about 50% in our sales revenue.
Wow. And where are you seeing that growth in your business? Because I'm just keen to get an understanding globally, where are you seeing that trend? And Siim, I'm keen to get your feedback on that as to where is the adoption happening faster, and then where do you see the opportunities?
I would say that it's global, but it's depending very much where the markets are at. And maybe also just collaborate a little bit what Janek said about what do we offer now. It also corresponds very well with the market trends. So we started off by efficiency at the dealership. So for premium brand, it was 1.5 hours to make a proposal for a salesman. A lot of overhead there. So we solved this kind of basic problems initially. Then it came down to other processes offline. So if the customer somehow pops up in the dealership so that it would be possible to sell a car on the spot. And now during past years, like Janek said, tools for the customers to buy themselves the cars with, supported with different online applications and online sales. But I think it, regarding the question, it depends on the market, but we see digitalization everywhere. It's just that in some markets, some steps have been kind of skipped, but we have kind of solutions that fit different markets very well. I think Janek can comment on the details there.
It got me thinking, and Mark, if I have to answer to you, I would say that all those big changes, where we are part of, are mostly triggered by the OEMs. So it's not that much regional stuff, but driven from the upward. So that's what we see, yeah. And just to note that I mean, we are based in Estonia. We have offices in multiple countries. And as of today, I mean, we've reached to a situation that 60% of the revenue is coming abroad, including from Australia as well.
And that's what I'm very encouraged to see, that the adoption that's happening globally, and that it's even. Because, as you say, the customers are driving it, but also the OEMs are driving it. So the customers want to have a seamless purchase experience. They want information at their fingertips so they can make a value judgment. You're providing the tools so they can do that through improvements in dealer websites. So you're providing dealer websites, you're providing the tools so they can do e-commerce transactions, plus also they can look at their finance options too. So it really speeds it up, that whole process of finding a car, finding a dealer, finding out the transaction, what I need to do, when's it available. But also you can do the 360 and give the OEM the inventory management tools, because often a lot of those systems are very old and antiquated and can be very clunky in their operation. So you've got a new state-of-the-art process that they can, and with all the smaller OEMs coming into market, because there seems to be a new brand popping up almost every 6 months. So they need systems in order to bring their products to market and manage the network's inventory plus their own, and also to be able to invoice them, which is what it's all about.
I would only add that not only dealer websites, but also OEM websites, and then also widgets for the OEM websites. So that's the whole space where we work.
Okay, so it makes life easy for everybody.
Yeah, Janek, because you try and engage the customer online, so even before he comes to the dealership. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of the things you do on that side?
Yeah, I think like Mark mentioned, it's important that you have a good website, not just nice looking, but equipped with a lot of information. So you should have your stock there with a full specification. You should have the car configurator, for example, if you're selling premium brands. But yeah, I mean, quite a while ago, we added a chat functionality into our platform. And the initial goal with this was that, I mean, when a sales guy is sitting in the showroom, no clients, really not much to do at the time. So he could log into the chat and monitor the traffic on the website, just to, I mean, silently see what pages clients are visiting, what they're clicking on, and at the suitable time to engage with the customer. So offering him help and trying to convert this visitor to a lead. Well, I think there was a big boom during the COVID times where the chat and the video chat, by the way, we have video chat as well, was very popular. So a lot of demand. But once the restrictions were lifted, I see that the usage of such applications have dropped quite significantly. And I actually haven't seen that they will pick up anytime soon.
So is that because the sales staff are too busy? Or is it that the buyers don't engage with it?
One thing is that I think people can move around again. So they want to go to a dealership. I mean, I think it has slightly increased. The other thing is that, again, depending on the country and the nationality. So in our region, people like to study by themselves. They don't want to ask for help. And once they know what they want, they will reach out to just confirm with the sales guy what they've learned themselves.
I would also add that as the tools to buy online are there, I think especially with the EVs, we see that since the tools are there, there's no point to chat with someone if the flow is understandable and easy to use.
So it seems, I suppose, so the better the website, because you've made the website more informative, there's less need for the chat to engage because the customer's getting what they need from the interactivity of the website.
I would think that the online shopping for cars should be, I mean, not that simple as ordering the food, but close enough. And if you're ordering the food from app, I mean, you don't need to chat with the agent to understand how to order. So I think that's the goal where we should go.
So it's critical for both dealers and OEMs to really optimize their websites through what you guys do for the dealer and the OEM. It's content, it's layout, and it's ease of information transfer. So that's made more effective and more efficient, which then minimizes the requirement for the extra sales process of the individual, because there's more information. The sales process is actually made easier through all of the enhancements because of the online work that you do.
I would also say that, hybrid is important. So it's also that customer can choose if they do all the necessary steps online or part of them offline. It all comes to the customer, but the salesperson should have full visibility and control the situation, whatever path the customer chooses.
The omni-channel. John, we've had that discussion actually about omni-channel with a marketer, and it's becoming more and more a key feature that you have to be able to switch between the two. Because Siim's point's a very good one. It's that at the end of the day, it comes out of the customer. Some customers will want to go straight through the digital path, whereas others still want to have that human interaction. They'll research digitally, but then they still ultimately want the validation of the salesperson, which is why the salesperson needs to be attuned to the digital activities and information so that they can actually affect the sale in a way that meets the customer's requirement.
But I think, Janek, you made a very good point, to be able to monitor and see what the customer's doing online and to intervene if you think necessary. And I think that's quite a difference to how we've always sat back, waited for the customer to come to the dealership, but being able to have that visibility and then engaging when necessary. You don't necessarily have to engage, but if you see him doing certain things, you can say, okay, well, what about that? Have you thought about that? Or we have one in stock here we got at a discount. So that it gives you those opportunities to put stuff forward and not just a bot talking to the customer.
Now, gentlemen, can you understand from your perspective, what do you see as being the biggest challenges facing the automotive industry today?
One of the challenges, of course, is the efficiency within the automotive supply chain. OEMs are looking into different options how to improve that. As you all probably know, many OEMs like Mercedes, Stellantis are trying to convert its dealer networks into agencies. I would think that most of the OEMs are at least evaluating this approach. The other challenge, actually, what I think is valid is the OEM's competition with mobility providers. As the mobility business is booming, the OEMs might feel that they do not get their fair share in this business. OEMs produce the car, the dealers will retail it, both get their margin. But then the mobility company is getting a bigger share by renting the cars out. So we already see a lot of OEMs making their first moves, offering short-term rental or subscription model, but it's not yet mainstream. So I guess once they figure out how to keep this business model profitable, we would see a bigger OEM push in this area.
Janek, you've also seen traditionally before COVID, the OEMs used to produce a lot of stock. So it was very much a push model. They used to push a lot of stock to the dealers. The dealers were trying to push the stock out. And during COVID now, there's been a shortage of cars. So there's been so that whole thing's changed. But I think it will eventually go back because you've got these big factories. And to make the factories efficient, you have to achieve certain volumes. But getting the right colors and the right models and the right to meet customer demands, do you see things happening in that sort of space between what's happening at the coal face and then to feed that information through to the back end, to the suppliers and the factories and that, to make sure that they're building the right quantity and the right type of product that the customer wants?
I think COVID was like a major wake-up call for the automotive OEMs, just realizing that they're just not there to, take the challenge, first of all, to serve the customer experience part of it, but then also the One is hybrid customer experience, omni-channel. Another thing is flexibility in the retail model. For both of those, you need software and integrations to support it. And then actually, I saw that actually the quick solution was to try to connect traditional sales model with some video chat, just to be able to do something. But then also there was initiation to actually do the digitalization that would enable multi-channel sales, but also have flexibility in terms of retail models.
John, about your thoughts. So it got me thinking. So, I had a chat with one of the clients. That was already a year ago. And I was asking him, we can get you a lot of information from the dealers about the offers which were accepted, which were denied, what kind of configurations were for what were okay, what were not. That based on this information, you could really kind of order the cars which customers like. And you know what his answer was? Last year, I ordered 120 black cars. I sold 120 black cars. So next year, I'm going to order another 120 black cars. Because, the demand was actually so big, it really didn't matter.
But I think once you come out of COVID and the supplies come back online, I think that's where that inefficiencies will probably show themselves again. I don't know what you think, Mark.
It's an interesting one, the supply and demand. What I love about these conversations that we have, and gentlemen, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us, because we really appreciate your global footprint is very impressive. And it's the key things that I kept making notes with Siim and Janek, with what both of you are saying, is it's efficiency and profitability. Ultimately, that's what the business is all about, but it starts with the customer. If the customer demand is less than the supply, there's a profitability problem. And the improvement in profitability then is through the efficiency that you can do with at least being successful in transacting at the highest possible price. But if there's an oversupply from the OEMs and that efficiency drops, their profitability drops, which then means it's a push strategy, which you talk about, John. And then what tends to happen is the customer experience drops away. So the businesses that embrace the digital tooling that Modera has, for example, for both dealer and OEM, will rise above those that just go to a straight push strategy and have disregard for the customers. And the customers are also the dealer too. So where they push excessive stock onto the dealers, that causes stress. And then that means that experience and efficiencies are often compromised unless process is followed to the optimum of performance in the dealers, and the customer comes back to being in the centre of the activity. But yeah, you're right. It's a supply chain challenge, because it will all swing about. It'll all come down to how much money gets pulled out of all the various markets, with the central banks tightening up supply to see whether that actually does slow down demand for the vehicles that we've seen, given that with COVID, so much money was pumped into every market and there's lots of disposable money and it was at very cheap rates. That's now disappearing, so it'll be interesting to see what transpires over the next 12 months.
So Janek, where do you see the future of digital in the automotive space? What do you think is going to happen going forward?
In my opinion, I think the trend going that direction, where consumers can either buy, lease, or rent a car online in a self-service style in a very convenient way. From the other side, I still see that more and more OEMs trying for new retail model, the agency model, or eventually it could be that there's some kind of a new hybrid model evolving from the experience. And I think, we already noticed a big hype in the used car business. I think it's going to go even bigger because there has been lack of new cars, dealers changing to agencies. So I think, used car business would be area to focus on. And actually, those three areas, what I mentioned, those are in our focus as well from Modera perspective. And I'm pretty optimistic that our solutions will help many automotive companies to meet the future, being equipped with the best solution available.
It's interesting. I share your views, Janek and Siim. The agency model is, I can see their OEMs will struggle to get their head around it initially, as will dealers. But the two, one thing about this industry which is amazing is that there's always a way. It's like a river, always finds its way to the path it needs to follow. And what I can see happening with agency is when stock is tight, the OEM will control the agency side of things. When stock becomes an oversupply, one thing you've highlighted, and Siim as well, is the used car market. So what will happen is the agency model will turn a lot of demonstrators into used cars so that dealers can then trade them in the traditional way. That will then move that inventory around, but the main new stock will be controlled under the agency model. So there'll be a little bit of latitude, if you like, in that middle section where I think the demos and the ex-factory cars will slide in nicely into that middle ground to have the dealers be able to be entrepreneurial in selling those vehicles. And I think you'll find the OEMs will help them do that while still maintaining agency. So there's a space for both organisations to capitalise on the situation.
I actually had a good chat with one dealer group just last week, and they are facing as well the situation. I think they're selling Stellantis brands, and they're facing the agency model. And from dealers' perspective, there's a lot to digest. And what he was saying to me that at the same time, there's a lot of Chinese brands sneaking into Europe. And of course, those guys are going to dealerships, dealer groups and saying, okay, with us, you will be a dealer, not an agent. And of course, dealers consider that because, they definitely prefer margin over the commission.
Thank you, Janek and Siim, for sharing your time with us today. One thing that really stands out when I listen to your conversation and the information that you shared with us is efficiency and profitability really stand out, and customer. Three things. So efficiency through the website, efficiency through the information, and the efficiency through the customer friendliness of how easy it is to use that. And that's when looking at dealer and also OEM. So then the ability for the customer to transact at their choice. Now, some customers will choose to go straight through the digital path, fantastic. Others still want to have a combination, and that's where there's the hybrid model of the omni-channel of doing some things online and doing some things offline. But the key there for execution is the individuals in the dealership being aware that the customer has been traveling on the digital journey and now moving across to in the physical world. And the proactive operators that understand and use your systems properly will get that efficiency and profitability by winning those deals. But then we look at as far as the customer frenzy that we saw over the last 2 years is coming to an end. The financial markets are tightening up. So right now, OEMs are looking for improving their profitability. Their costs have gone up. Now their margins are squeezed, and we're looking at a different distribution model. And this is where, once again, the Modera product comes into play with products for the OEM, managing the dealer's inventory, and also if they're carrying the inventory, knowing where vehicles are, and also how to invoice them out if required. And then there's the other side of it, which is the OEM's website itself, making sure that if they're going to go to a direct sale model, that you can actually transact through that process. So lots of opportunities. It's still very fluid. You've got EVs coming on one hand. You've got different business models because margins are different as well. You've got agency But then you've got other brands coming in that from the Chinese market that are going back and still being with this traditional franchise model. So you've got products that can work for any of the business models, whether it be agency, combination of, or traditional dealer, OEM, and also making sure customers get the easiest possible and best information, the easiest possible experience, and also get the most information so that they can make a value judgment on what they buy, and preferably buy it quicker because there's less barriers or less risk in what their purchase decision is because they've got the right information. The auto industry catching up, as you said, Janek, early, the auto industry catching up to what you can do online with your food and all the other things that we transact as a given. But now you've given us the tools that we can actually transact quicker and be more efficient, whether we're an OEM or a dealer, because you put the customer in the middle of everything digitally. And I think that makes sense.
Janek, Siim, thanks very much for joining us today. It's been an interesting discussion, so thanks for your time.
No worries at all. Gentlemen, great to see you again.
Later.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening today. Hopefully you got as much out of the discussion with Janek and Siim as we did. It's a fascinating topic when you look at the digital transformation in the auto industry and other bits that fit in as far as the post-COVID world, the transition to agency, and the omni-channel that customers travel down. If you like what you heard, please remember to subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. Ring the bell to make sure you get advised that of any new publications that we do. And we'll talk soon.
Thanks very much for listening.